Chad from Boat and Tackle. Welcome to Just Fishing. Today, I have got a couple of charter captains with me. I would like to introduce Ryan Sharp. How you doing, buddy?
Hey, Chad. Doing great.
Good. And we've got your cohort as well, the partner in crime. Or do we say father? Is that okay?
Co-captain would be appropriate.
Co-captain Robert Sharp. Actually, Ryan and Robert do co-captain, and this is unusual. You don't normally get two captains on one boat, but they're co-captains for an awesome charter on Lake Huron. And with a brand new boat, actually. I'm sure you're super excited about that, Ryan.
Yeah, we've been planning this for a couple years now, and it's finally all come together, and we're ready to rock for the 2024 season.
That's a beauty. I do want to know more about it. So let's just start with that, because honestly, that's what I want to know. I've seen all the gadgets you've been putting on it. I've seen all the videos you've been putting out. You've done some sea trials. So, tell us a little. I know there's probably way more to tell than what we have for time, but give us the nuts and nuts of it all.
Sure. So it's a 2825 Coastal Express from Kingfisher, 29 feet.
Nice.
We've got twin 200s on it and a 25 horse kicker. So plenty of power just to get us out to the fishing grounds faster. And we had it custom built. Like everything we put on there was with our customers in mind. Trying to keep not only catch more fish, but keep things safer, keep everybody a lot more comfortable, and also be able to take more people. Our older boat, we were limited to 3 guests, and now we can comfortably take 6. Our fishing deck has grown from 4 feet to 11 feet. It's actually the largest deck that Kingfisher currently makes, so that's really going to be a game changer.
That's huge. That's huge. There's got to be a ton of room when you're trying to land fish back there.
Oh yeah, and with all the trolling equipment, it even a large deck can start to feel pretty small quick when you've got multiple people out there fighting multiple fish at the same time, and all the big equipment. So it's going to be great.
Well, here's the big question: how many rods can you safely run now in this beast?
So we'll probably aim for, when we have enough people, 14. We might go 16 if we can when we have a full amount, but it'll depend on the weather conditions too, and time of year. Like in the spring when we're after coho, mainly fishing higher, it's kind of hard to run that big of a spread. We'll always try to maximize the rods as much as we can when conditions allow.
Yeah, and huge investment in electronics. Ray Marine really helped us out, gave us amazing advice.
Yeah, I saw.
The other game changer, I think, is the XM radio weather. That's Sirius radio weather.
Yeah, I saw you had a post about that. So I honestly don't know much about it. Did you not see it at the Miami Boat Show or something like that?
Yeah,
Is that how it came about?
We actually got to play around with it there. They had a unit on display in Miami, and we were able. It was same unit we run, and we were able to see a live feed from Lake Huron there with the snow,
awesome.
the flurries and the wave heights and all that stuff, and we get live lightning detection and just everything that we need to. When we're out there, our main concern is obviously safety.
It's got to be,
And without that information, it's really hard. You're just guessing and going by your instinct and your phone. And a lot of times when we're out far enough, our phone service doesn't work anymore.
Right.
Or radar footage we're seeing is too old. And then of course the radar on the boat, we get 24 miles coverage, and we do get pickup weather on that, but that's not a lot of time to pull lines, head in, and beat the storm.
How's the clarity on that, Robert? Is it really great screens on that?
Yeah, Ryan's got it kind of customized. We can zoom in and zoom out and pick different zones.
And you got 20. You said there's, what did you say? 25 miles of coverage.
Yes, that's correct.
That's huge. You should be able to get.
Yeah, and with the Sirius XM now we can have 150 miles. So we can see storms coming from other Great Lakes and everything else, and be in the know at all times.
And then we kind of went overboard on the camera system.
I think you went overboard on a lot of things, to be honest with you. I see some of the videos.
So the rear view mirror is really cool because we can actually see the downriggers and the planer boards on the wide angle camera imaging system right from the helm. So who's ever navigating at the present time can see the views from, what cameras do we have, Ryan?
So on the front, we've got a Cam 210, which is our forward-looking camera.
Okay.
Cam 300 at the rear, which is a wide angle. And then FLIR M232, which is our thermal imaging camera. So nighttime,
Okay.
when low light conditions, it's really like turning on a light switch, and you can
Wow.
see everything: logs in the water, obstacles,
Really?
dangers.
Wow.
Just a big safety thing, because we like to get out. Some of our trips leave at as early as 6 in the morning, so that keeps things a lot safer and allows us to get out when the other guys can't or shouldn't.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
And the augmented reality is something that we debated about, but we really feel it's worth it.
Yeah, it's just an extra sensor on board that detects the sort of like the autopilot that detects the pitch and the roll and everything, but it puts that into the camera images and stabilizes them.
Wow.
And also adds our targets like buoys, AIS data, fishing waypoints. So that's all on a real-time screen, like a video feed now. So it's it's pretty cool stuff. And it's not all about stuff that helps you catch more fish, but helps you to be safer and allows you to get out there safely when normally we would have to cancel because conditions aren't safe enough for us to go out and navigate.
So I know you've been doing sea trials for a couple times or maybe more than that.
Yeah, we've had I think about 7 trips now. Trying to get our 20 hours
Get it
on
dialed in.
the break in on the motor so we can get the servicing done, and we've been making all kinds of tweaks and things and just getting used to everything. And we've had autopilot stuff to it's just such a big project. There's
Just fine tuning.
yeah, when you add that
Yeah.
much stuff on the boat, there's a lot of fine tuning that needs to be done, and we want to get all that done before we start our season. And we're in really good shape right now. Everything's
Nice.
going good, and
And we just started adding the trolling bags too, and it's really controlled.
Yeah,
Unexpected
Ryan-
thing was the
Ryan was mentioning
roll
that.
and pitch.
we were having a little bit of trouble getting our speed dialed in, and another captain recommended trolling bags. So we, at first we didn't really want the extra hassle of something else to deploy.
course, yeah.
But gave them a try, and not only did it get our speed dialed down where it needs to be, but when the boat's up in waves and you get that surge,
Right.
it really takes that right out. So anyone that gets seasick,
Yeah.
this should really help with that too.
So you heard it first from Captain Ryan. If you need trolling bags, I mean, ideally you don't need them, but if you need them, they definitely work.
The size of the boat too, right? We've got the
Yeah.
big pilot house now, and that
Yeah.
acts as a big sail with the wind.
Yeah.
And boat control is everything. If you can't get your speed dialed in where it needs to be, there's no point in being out there. You're not going to catch much.
So here's the question, Captain Robert: Who gets to drive the boat more so far?
It's actually a team effort. Ryan's much more detail oriented, where to find the fish, but it's hard to say. I'd prefer to be out the back just working the lines.
Is that right?
And have Ryan sort of navigate, and he's more tuned into where the fish are.
I'm guessing that probably works because you're quite happy to have him
Oh yeah,
managing all the lines,
what happened usually
especially if you had 16 lines.
Yeah, well, once we get out there, usually we'll switch off, and once things are kind of in play, then I go. I kind of get bored if I'm at the helm too long because I want to be where the action is.
Of course,
and, I'm a little quicker with the net and everything, but
Yeah.
we try to.
Sorry, are you saying your dad's not quicker?
Well,
I don't know
sometimes-
how people do it with just one person, because the 2-captain thing, we're continually working.
Yeah.
So we're 2 for the price of 1.
It's actually a nice luxury that you do have 2 licensed captains on board, truthfully, because there's so much going on, and especially now with bigger groups, get out into bad weather, et cetera. Just having that extra experience, I think, is something probably I don't know if anybody else on Huron can say that, but you're the only 2 that I know of that have sort of dueling certified captains.
Yeah, as far as I know, we are, and it's a whole extra safety thing too. Like if something were to happen, if say I was knocked off the boat or something,
Right.
that autopilot's in gear. By the time the customers kind of, if they can figure out how to shut that off and
Right.
get the boat spun around, it'd probably be too late, right? So, and another big thing that we have is, with the Coast Guard requirements, we need the big life jackets.
Okay.
So they're always on board, but they're the big cruise ship style ones. So it's not something you can wear. They're for emergencies only. So
Okay.
we also supply the PFDs, the self-inflating Mustangs.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they're not cheap, but for safety, that's our primary concern.
Yeah.
So we supply those to everybody, and
People
I've
appreciate that.
yeah, and
Yeah.
out of all the customers we've taken out, we've only had one person complain about having to
Right.
wear it. And after the trip, that guy, he said, he had no idea how comfortable they'd be. He went out and bought one for his own boat, and he's
Yep.
glad he, tried it out.
Yeah,
So
I have a couple of them, and I don't mind them at all. I will admit I don't always put it on, but when I go out by myself, it's sort of a pack that I have with my wife. If I'm by myself, that I put it on. I probably should do it all the time, but it's good that you have them for everybody, and I think safety is certainly pertinent. So now you've done all the sea trials, or you're just about ready.
Yep.
You're at that point now. Are you out there starting to chase the spring cohos and stuff?
yeah,
Like-
the coho has been really good this year. It was around, I think, mid-March when we first actually started putting some lines out in the middle of testing, and
that's
we
early.
were. It is, yeah. There's only in the 20 years we've done it. I think there's only one other time I remember being able to get out that early, but usually it's not till about mid-April.
Wow.
So everything is a little ahead this year with the winter we've had. But yeah, coho have been great. We were out yesterday. Our best trip was actually a few days ago. We got our 2-man limit of coho and a
Wow.
monster 26-inch walleye, which was a real surprise for this time of year.
Have you had any kings biting this early, or is it too early for them? Because I don't really understand.
They can come in. I'm sure there's some around. We haven't been bit yet, but I mean it's like any time now. Could be tomorrow. Could be another 5 days, but they'll be here.
Any nice size to the
Very,
coho?
very small this year, aren't they, Ryan?
Is that right?
They,
good eaters. So
Yeah, they're always smaller in the spring, but yeah, perfect. All kind of around that 2-pound range. So great eaters and good little fight, and coho are fun because they're really they're so easy to catch.
Yes.
The hard part is just locating them. So once you get into a big school, it's quite easy.
Well, especially now, I'm guessing you can map those lines quite nicely and autopilot directly over top of the same route, I suppose, if you wanted.
Yeah. And another thing we do is, those really calm days where it's tough to get a bite.
Yep.
The flat calm days, we put the autopilot on zigzag mode. So with the turning, when you turn, make an inside turn or an outside turn, your boards are going to pull at different speeds. So if you got a fish following, sometimes that's all you need just to get them to strike.
That's whose autopilot is that?
Ray Marine.
Ray Marines as well.
So we're running the new boat. We're running the Evolution 150. The old boat EV 100. So same system, just a little beefed up for the bigger boat.
So how much of I've actually didn't know that was available. So how much of a zig or zag?
You can actually set it.
You can customize it.
Yeah.
And is it like every so many minutes kind of thing? Every so many degrees? Like how does that work?
Yeah, it all depends. Like you just punch that in. When we're out, we just when we're setting it up, we just watch the turn.
Yeah.
We don't want to overdo it and risk tangles or anything. So once we get that dialed in, it's saved on there. So when you're out there, all you do is say follow pattern, zigzag, enter,
That's amazing.
done.
So now you've got the boat zigzagging automatically, and you've got the downriggers jigging automatically.
Yep.
So between the two of them, you should be pretty well covered now. Just spoon selection, right?
Yeah, we still love those Traxtex downriggers too. That's the best
appreciate
investment
that,
we made.
Yeah. No, I'm glad to hear that.
And having the two of us on the boat is also great for just way of thinking, because there's times when, like that last trip when we limited out, I picked every single lure, all my usual ones that always work for me. We weren't getting any bites, so my dad went out. He just changed everything all on his own. And
Went old school AC Shiner.
Oh, okay.
And, it worked.
Yeah, so we're running a pretty good mix of body baits and spoons this time of year. With the colder water, you want to get more body baits into play.
No, well, that's exactly what I was just going to ask you. So if you were to give, and don't give away all your tips, but if you were to give some advice for maybe people starting out and targeting them in the spring,
Yeah.
is there any advice you might want to share that, doesn't give away too much, but maybe help somebody get, underway with maybe, starting to get a few fish?
So the biggest thing, in my opinion, is just trying to match the bait to what the fish are eating.
Okay. So Lake Huron,
Yeah.
what's the primary bait of the salmon then?
So depends. Like right now, they're full of emerald shiners, and also they're eating the flies that are coming in, like full of bugs.
Okay.
And then pretty soon we should see a lot of smelt come in. So when the smelt come in, then we upsize our baits a little bit.
Now that's because they're a bit of they're a bigger fish, so
Right.
you're trying to target that same size.
Yeah. So I
And
mean,
the Pro King spoons is what they had the best luck with the Kings.
Is that
yeah,
right?
and we've even ran quite a few of the walleye size spoons, which are their their mini version. And when they're feeding on those baby little minnows, or emerald shiners, they really slam those, even the rainbows as well. But like I was saying the other day when my dad changed everything up, so normally I'm going for coho,
Right.
the brightest colors you can find, because you're usually in a little more stained water, so a lot of orange. But this year we're finding the more natural looking colors are doing better. So yeah, every year is kind of different. With Lake Huron, you're really only as good as your last fishing trip, because
Yeah,
it
well,
changes that fast.
yes.
And fishing in general, but Lake Huron, I especially, just overnight things can change. You think you're on you got it dialed in, you got your program going, and then you got to change it up again. So
Yeah, Lake Huron's totally different. The color clarity of the water in the summer is just, sometimes we'll put the ball down and see almost 20, 30 feet, if not farther.
Yeah, that's so nice. Unfortunately, my home lake is St. Clair, and it usually ranges from dirty to murky. I don't get to have that clarity. Sometimes, but very rarely.
yeah.
More fish, though.
What?
Easier fishing, I think, in
Oh, you think so?
Lake Erie especially.
Well, the populations
I
are.
said. Did I say Erie? I meant St. Clair.
Oh, no, you said St. Clair, but
Okay.
I said Lake Erie. But every time we flush the toilet, we try and give you a little extra clarity just to make sure.
I appreciate that. Yeah, it's just you're going to need a few more flushes though, because it's still pretty murky. So what's interesting is that Lake St. Clair, I think it changes its full water, completely recycles itself. I think once every 7 days is what I heard, and obviously Huron would be. I don't even know what the stats are, but it might be like once a year or something like that. It's considerably more. It's obviously a much bigger lake, but
Yeah. There's a lot of water out there.
yeah, no, there is for sure. So how's the charter sort of the bookings coming for this year so far? Are you seeing, like, you've obviously been talking a lot about the boat, and you can take more people. I'm guessing that's helping with bigger groups and
Yeah. Oh yeah. So I think we have maybe 2 or 3 groups with 3 or 4 people, and everybody else is 5 or 6. So that's definitely the trend is for bigger groups. And it's always more fun with more people too. And yeah, it's been great.
that's nice.
Yeah, our booking system's so easy too. You just click a few buttons and you're in.
Yeah, calendars all up there
it's real time,
in real
right?
time, and that makes things a lot easier for the customer. And yeah, it's
And the confirmation emails are instant too.
yeah, that's a big thing too. I always reply to messages as quick as I can.
Right.
But when we're on the water, sometimes we don't have cell reception, and we're busy out there. So, instead of waiting till we get back and have to do that,
Yeah, it's nice.
It's nice that they know that
instantaneous.
their booking's locked in, and any other questions they have, they can get back to us. But
Yeah, were you going to say something, Sir Robert?
I can't remember.
Yeah, you look like you were going to say something. I thought, well, I better stop talking. So for people that are wanting to chase kings specifically, and I know you can't always pick from day to day what you're going to get, when really should they be starting? Like if they want to come and book with you or they want to get out, when should they be, like how long do we wait now?
So the
for the kings?
whole month of May is usually pretty good for kings. Like it's always hit or miss, because there's not a lot of kings out on Huron.
Right.
But it's nice when the coho are in there as well to get more salmon. But yeah, May is good. And we have some surprises too. Like in the summer, we get, a few runs of them too. And
Right.
of course, the later in the season they are, the bigger they're going to be. But if king salmon is really all you're after, specifically kings, then the month of May is our favorite.
I'm gonna switch off to walleye for a second because I've been very spoiled walleye fishing on Erie. Do you think the walleye fishing is as good on Huron in the summer? Like if you wanted to just target walleye, do you think you could just load them up all day?
So about 15 years ago, we'd be lucky just to catch a couple walleye in an entire season. That's how
Wow.
that's how tough it was. I mean, the gill netters were getting them, but
Sure.
as far as fishing goes, and we were even, sometimes specifically trying for them to see what would happen, and we just weren't that successful. But the populations have really exploded.
Yeah, so that's changed now. Like the lake is a lot more
Oh, yeah.
prolific with walleye.
Yeah, you can really see them on the axioms.
Yeah.
Especially as soon as the sun starts setting, they all seem to come up really fast.
So we've been getting,
Is that right?
quite a few in the summertime limit catches of walleye, but not like Lake Erie walleye fishing
Yeah,
is just crazy.
it's
You
stupid,
can
yeah.
we went out last year, the year before, and got our 3-man limit of walleye in 24 minutes. So it took,
Wow.
it's pretty crazy, but. For Huron, like the nice thing is the variety. Like to be able to get, walleye, coho salmon, Chinook
Yeah.
salmon, rainbow, lake trout.
I was gonna say, like, how many
browns.
species are you? Yeah, you're getting browns too. I actually,
Yeah, we don't get many, but I mean usually a couple a season. So Atlantics,
they're
we've
fun.
been
They're really
getting
fun.
is
Yeah,
that right?
Yeah, they jump and they go crazy, and they're really hard to net because they just don't seem to have any rhyme or reason to them. They're going sideways and another run and jumping.
Kind of like the kings a little bit.
Yeah, a couple trips we've actually lost more than we've caught.
You shouldn't. You shouldn't admit that, by the way.
Who was the one losing them? You or me?
Well, the net man has
I just wanna know
responsibility.
who was on the helm for that trip? That's
And that's the other thing. Ryan will tell me to turn into him or turn away from him, so I can be on the helm while he's trying to give us some guidance.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's
and
nice.
with the autopilot too, we can control it from the back as well. So
Oh,
we're
that's
always
nice. Yeah.
always on top of things. But sometimes you really have to make some aggressive turns, and it's nice to have someone up on the wheel and change the speed and everything so we can get that fish in. Because those kings, they don't usually don't play too nice.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the funnest part for us, seeing someone actually catch a fish.
Yeah, for sure.
And the excitement on their faces when they land it, and everyone's all happy, and it's makes it worthwhile.
And that's why we like the charters so much, because we have so much fun fishing together ourselves. But
to share
that experience, and just kind of brings back the memories of the first time that we actually caught a salmon out there, very first time. And
a lot of guys are hesitant to bring their wives or girlfriends, but a lot of times they come hesitantly, but they seem to have the most fun of anyone, and the most emotional.
Are they sipping wine or are they? No, probably not.
Well,
no.
I don't know what they. Just a different personality, I
Sure.
think.
Yeah. No, I'm
and
kidding.
we're not allowed to have alcohol out there.
I was kidding. I just been, But it's actually last year? I brought somebody out on my boat on St. Clair for the first time fishing who'd never been fishing before, and I tell you what, the excitement for me was over the top. I think we were just bottom bouncing actually for walleye at the time, and I landed, had a huge sheep on. I just saw the pole start pumping, and I'm like, here you go. I passed it to her. I've never been so excited to watch somebody catch a fish, and she was just jumping up and down. And so I know exactly what you're saying about that joy you get from watching somebody else.
Yeah, the men are very focused. Like, they don't say anything. They're just really concentrating.
Yeah.
Women are screaming and hollering, and once they
cool,
get it
though.
in, they just can't believe that
That's great.
they did it.
Yeah, and as fishermen, we're always trying to catch the most number of fish we can, have the best number
Sure.
of days. But the chartering, it's not about that. And
It's
you
the
want
experience.
Exactly. And for some people, they want to fill the cooler.
Yeah.
For most people, maybe they want to go after that one big fish,
Yeah.
and then get a few small ones, or that one species that that's a dream to catch. So we try to we try to do exactly what they want and
when they
give them the time they're hoping for.
Yeah, when they come on board, we always say we're working for you. We're not working for anyone else. We're working for you.
Well, that's something I appreciate too. And I've been fortunate to be out with you a couple times. You guys really are focused on the experience. I would say, like, even, when Ryan and I came out with you guys, we're accomplished fishermen. We've been out there. We kind of have some idea of what we're doing, but in the same way, there was a lot of time spent cracking jokes and just having fun and just really making it an enjoyable day on the water. It was so much more than the fishing. I think, it was a great experience, really.
Yeah, I think if our customers leave us as friends, that's the biggest compliment.
Yeah, and we're so fortunate now that we've been doing this long enough that so many of our customers are repeats.
Repeat visits.
So it just
takes the instruction level down to a different level too.
Yeah, we've had guys that come out 4 or 5 times a season, and now they're helping set lines and they know the program, and it's great.
Speaking of customers coming out and learning while they're out there, I did want to touch on something because I know recently you decided you were going to do some trolling classes.
Yeah.
And I don't know what you're calling that or if that's just what it is, but I'd like to hear a bit more about that. And maybe for people that are thinking of maybe coming out with you or that are looking at getting into trolling, this would be an invaluable tool really for anybody, especially if you just bought a boat or you're trying to figure it in, or you're trying to dial in Lake Huron, whatever it is. Like, can you tell me a bit about that and what you're doing?
Sure. So there was nobody else doing it on Lake Huron. It's been done, I know, in Lake Ontario. Some captains have done it with a lot of success. And you get so many questions on specifics, like, how are we finding the fish? How are we catching them? What color are we using? What depth? And, it's a lot more than just specifics. Like, I could give you a GPS coordinate. I can give you the color. I can give you the exact depth, everything. But chances are, that information, by the time you go back out the next day, even the next hour, that information's outdated, right? So the whole goal of this is just try to get, new people out that, like you said, are just starting to get into fishing Lake Huron.
It's invaluable.
And just giving them, tips and techniques that we've picked up over the years to help get them thinking for themselves and just, be ahead, like not to, have to try and follow other boats around or look for the pack of boats and start fishing there. I want them to think, okay, the fish are going to be here now. We're going to try there first, then we're going to move here. Like, just have the game plan set out before they even leave the dock. And that's kind of what, in the chartering, what we do, and we make adjustments when we're out there because every day is different. It's not an exact science, but just to show the products we use, the lures we use, and when we use them, why we use them, and
that education is literally shaving years off of somebody's growth of trolling on a lake like that.
Absolutely. And the other cool thing is instead of the charters, when it's their own private group, these are mixed, so 6 different people that all want to learn, and
all different backgrounds, all different experience levels. You had a couple of really experienced guys who are coming out in July, and they just wanted to try something different from Lake Ontario and see what's happening on Lake Huron.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys are doing that because I come from a mindset of, like, I just want to get people interested in the sport. I love it. Am I going to go tell you this is my honey hole, pull up to this spot, and drop your line down here? Maybe I don't want to give you everything, but why wouldn't I try to help somebody out who wants to learn the sport, to get them? I mean, I love when you go to, Leamington or somewhere, and they have a board up there saying fish are at 35 feet, suspended. Everybody's using purple today. It's working good. I mean, I love that opportunity exists for what you guys are doing, and I think that there's some charter guys that they don't really want to tell you too much. You get on the boat and they're like, oh, how did you do that? Oh, you'll learn someday. They don't want to give you too much, but the fact that you're willing to give that free education essentially while you're out there, I think that's awesome. I really do. It's great for the sport.
And we've also had quite a few like just regular charters, and they were really interested in learning everything, and we're happy to take the time to explain all that in a regular charter as well. But the trolling class, that's definitely going to be really more hands-on and just getting everyone comfortable with the equipment and just our mindset of, when
So that's
we're
going
out
to be
there.
like six people at a time, you
Yeah,
said?
yeah.
And you've got a few of those booked already?
First one sold out. I never
Is that
never
right?
would have believed
Wow.
it. But when did it sell out, Ryan?
It was pretty quick. I think it was within the first 6 days or so.
Wow, that's
I never
awesome.
would have believed it, especially when they saw me on the website.
You didn't have your best outfit on for that one?
But we don't follow the pack. Ryan wants to do things differently. So if there's
Yeah,
a pack
that's a
of
good
boats,
thing.
we're
Yeah.
staying away from that because the motor noise, all of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And just because they're there yesterday doesn't mean they're going to be there today.
No.
So if we see a pack of boats, we'll just take a note of it, but we're not going to go in the middle.
Yeah, I was fishing with a couple of guys on Lake Ontario a couple of weeks ago. I caught my first brown, which I'd never caught before, which was awesome, a nice big brown. And that's exactly what he said. I'm like, well, look at where all the boats are. And he's like, yeah, that's why we're not going over there.
Yeah. And we're pretty fortunate where we are because during the salmon derby in the spring, there'll be tons of boats. But after that, it's if we see more than 5 boats out there at a time, that's what we call a busy day. So it's
Right.
we're pretty fortunate that way.
So we talked a little bit about chasing the kings in the spring, but you mentioned like there's all these other species, and I don't know if you're independently going out to target them all, or you just sort of it's a grab bag when you're out there. You get the Grand Band Slam or Grand Band Slam, as you guys call it. But I mean, sort of seasonally speaking, like if people are coming out, again, the cohos is number one, I guess, in the spring, and then like kind of where do you go from there, and sort of the general timing. And I know it's subject to weather.
Yeah.
and
So
all that, but
normally, cohos will be the very first fish we go after. They come in the first of the spring. Then the kings will show up. So that takes us through May. And in that time frame, you'll get the odd lake trout, odd rainbow as well. So June is kind of the transition month because the water's warming.
right.
The fish start to move out a little deeper. Come about mid to late June, that's when the walleye start to show up in numbers. And then July is usually, a full mixed bag catch of salmon, trout, and walleye. And then August, you start to get more rainbows showing up as well in the mix, and salmon, trout, and walleye again. And then September is usually a lot of wind.
Oh, okay.
So it's hard to, the days we can get out, it's usually great fishing, but those days are few because,
Yeah, the fall winds. Yeah.
exactly. But last year, we were really fortunate. We had a great weather in fall and great fishing. So it was a bit of a surprise. So you never really know. So we run charters May through September. And then after that point,
It's grab bag. If you get lucky enough to have a nice day, you might go out.
yeah. And we usually have to go out so far that time of year. And it just, you need the right weather to do it safely and have fun and be successful. And
So speaking of just going out so far, one of the things that I should have been paying attention to more as a fisherman, but I just really didn't until the last couple of years, was temperature.
yes.
And I didn't know. I started fishing on Lake Ontario recently, and I'm learning about the different temperatures that like kings like or things like that. I don't know if that's something you want to talk about at all, but you were talking about them moving out deep, and I guess it's some people at least don't know that, say in the spring, for example, you can target the cohos in nice shallow water, for example, and then you've got to get out to whatever. I don't know what kind of depth you're fishing or whatever time of year, but I'm curious if you want to share some insight on that, because this is an area that I think that's like the next level as a fisherman.
Sure.
You got a lures and you got a boat and you got a motor, but then you got to start kind of figuring out, okay, what's really going on below the surface, right?
Yeah. No, it's one of the biggest things for us is temperature. So in the spring, we're typically pretty close to shore. That's the area that warms up the quickest. What gets problematic though, when you get tons of rain, big wind, turns that water into chocolate milk.
Right. Then you got to get away from the dark stuff.
That's right. I mean, you can catch fish in the mud, but you really got to use noisy baits with rattles, and it will. We've had some okay fishing in the mud, but we've never had fantastic fishing in the mud. It's just too hard for them to see our lures.
Yeah, for sure.
But we just keep following the temperature out. And when the thermocline sets up, like that July period I was telling you about with mixed bag catches, we're pretty much able to do that. I like to have, lines set like almost right in that thermocline. Some below, you get more trout in the colder water.
Yeah. Can I back you up for a second on that?
Yeah,
Sorry.
sure.
And just because of the term thermocline, and I understand it, but for a
Yeah.
lot of people, they hear us talking about it and they're like, okay, what the hell are you talking about?
Yeah.
So I just wonder if you can maybe just sort of layman term explain thermocline just for those that are watching.
So basically, it's just a different layer in the water of temperature.
So
So
it creates a different density of water.
And you can see that like on your graphs or
Yeah, so actually will be actual line on the axioms. And the break in between the two densities sometimes will hold more bait fish, and the fish feel more comfortable in that area.
I see.
yeah. And there's times where, it's quite a big area. Other times where it's, like you'll be driving out there and 100 feet of water, top to bottom, it's 70 degrees. And
Wow.
you're not going to catch fish there. You go out maybe another half mile, and then you'll find that temperature break, and it'll go down to like 47 degrees. And that's what you want to see.
And there's been all different temperature probes we use over the year.
Yeah,
Different,
you're a fish hawk guy, right? So,
Yeah, we kind of stuck with the original one, the fish hawk. We've upgraded it to the new lithium probe.
Okay.
But there's been all different devices that have different drags and affect the gear. So we've kept it simple and kept it tried and true all these years with the fish hawk.
Yeah, sorry.
and-
I didn't mean to sidetrack you there. I just
No,
a lot of people don't, not diehard fishermen haven't really understood thermocline.
And it's not just about the thermocline either with the fish hawk. It's the speed, because after a big blow, big waves, the currents down there are
Totally different. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's all about just making our lures, our baits, whatever we're using down there, look
Yeah,
natural.
I think
to the
we've
fish.
lost about 6 fish hawk probes over the years.
Oh,
it's always a
man.
big panic. So now we actually have a couple extra.
Yeah, it's
That's wow. That's a lot of fish hawk probes.
Getting back to multi-species.
Yeah,
when
sorry,
the customer,
I did
when the
hijack
customer
that a
comes
little bit.
on board, we actually what are you hoping to catch? If it's mahi, or tuna, we sort of explain that they're very
probably
plentiful,
on the-
but not in
yes.
Lake
They
Huron.
need to dial into
They're beautiful tasting
to
fish, though.
wicked tuna, maybe if they want to see
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
But,
I would love if there was tuna in Lake Huron. That'd
The
be cool.
sailfish that Ryan caught in Miami were amazing.
they were cool. Big fight. But it's all about for Huron is just we're trying to get as many numbers as we can. In order to do that, we have to pretty much set lines for target some for
Yeah.
walleye, target some for salmon, target
Different depths, different colors.
cover it all. And then if
Yeah.
we're really on a good pattern, we'll throw some more at that depth and change things
Right.
up. But
Yeah, I mean, using more cut bait over the years too.
yeah,
Is that right, eh? Like those little herring things that you just sort of shove the I forget what you call those.
yeah, we like alewife.
Right.
So the big one cut bait is we do an order every year and get some of those, and they seem to. We've tried the herring too, and I mean it's been okay, but the alewife
They're just frozen, right?
These are
no.
unique.
Yeah, do you want to?
So they're actually brined, and you don't have to refrigerate them. They're in
Okay.
a vacuum lock package.
Okay. They last for a while in the fridge.
So apparently you don't even have to refrigerate them. We do refrigerate them just to make them keep them fresh. But apparently they're not required to be in a perfect size or perfectly trimmed, easy to use, and they catch fish. Only the big ones though. Yeah.
Well, I hope you're not serving those for lunch. on the
People have
charter.
asked. We've had people dive
on.
into the.
It does say on the package not for human consumption, so
Yes.
I'm not sure if there's a.
I hope they're not asking for that. Yeah.
No, but we do at the end of the charter. I actually clean the fish, package them.
Good to know. Yeah.
We give them a cooler bag with ice, so they can just take them home if they want to go out to lunch afterwards. They don't have to worry about the fish.
And we're
rushing-
both
rushing home.
safe food handler certified, so
Which is actually a requirement that no one really knows about.
yeah.
Yeah, and I want to say it's a nice cooler bag because I've brought coal home in that bag, and now when I go back and forth to the cottage every week, that's the bag that I throw all the stuff that I'm bringing to the cottage for that weekend.
Well, they've actually become a real fashion statement. The women, when they leave, that they're talking about their Gucci bag and their Calvin Klein bag, but when they see Grand Bend fishing charters
Yeah,
on the
that's-
bag,
that's next
people
level.
stop them on the street.
Yeah, like move over Kate Spade, right?
Yeah.
So, well, thank you for the tips on that. So if people want to get out and book with you, I don't know how far out you're booking or whatever, but I mean, I can tell you as somebody who's gone out with these guys, really just a great experience, and lots of fish every time too. Luckily,
Thanks, Chad. We had fun with you too. It was
no,
great.
Yeah, and
No, I
Chad,
appreciate
we
that.
really appreciate the relationship with you with Boat and Tackle, and
Yeah,
you
absolutely.
were a big help with us in setting up the new boat and just getting it rigged up perfect.
Yeah,
And
no, we appreciate the business, and I mean, it's like you, exciting to see people catching fish. It's exciting for me to see people using the gear and maximizing their fishing potential.
And we'll be the first to tell you we're not experts. Every day we're learning. Every day is different, and we're getting tips from people as we go.
and we went to salmon school in Michigan, and like there's so much stuff on YouTube now too. Like we're constantly trying to learn, improve, and be better captains, be better fishermen, and so it's definitely one of those jobs where you never stop learning, and
very
everything's
true. Yeah.
changing, and new stuff's coming out all the time.
Well, that's a great segue for me. So I guess I would say, if you want to learn, if you want to get out with some awesome charter guys, if you want to get a little bit more experience fishing, like Huron, of course, with you guys, get out on a charter trolling classes. I don't know if you've got any openings or not, but if they want to reach out to you, Ryan, what's the best way for people to get a hold of you?
So go, on our website, it's grandbendfishingcharters.com. So you go on there, you can book. There's a contact page if you have some questions. Be happy to answer those. And yeah, we'd just love to have you out and show you what Lake Huron's all about, and get you on board the new boat, and just have a fun experience.
Have a great time.
Yeah, can I ask you now, is it safe to say that you have the largest, most advanced boat on Lake Huron as it stands today?
Fishing
do you think?
fishing charter vessel in the area.
Yeah, that's what I mean,
and,
fishing,
and we're really blessed to have it, because
Beautiful.
we've come a long way. We've been with
It's a beautiful boat.
our current boat for 20 years, and we're so glad to finally be able to make that upgrade. And
And we researched every detail, like for a long time.
Yeah.
And went to the factory to check everything
Yeah,
out.
you guys flew. You flew all the way out to BC or whatever, right?
to Kelowna, yes.
To go check it out. Or
yeah,
Kelowna?
yeah, they're built in Vernon, BC, and it was a really incredible tour just to see the bones of the boat, how everything's put together, and be able to pick the custom options.
Shout out to Kingfisher.
Yeah.
Anyways, guys, thank you so much for coming.
Thanks, Chad.
Honestly, great chatting, fishing as always. Anytime I can talk fishing, it's a good day.
Thanks, Chad. It was a lot of fun.
Nice to learn a little bit more about Lake Huron and get some more tips. Can't wait to get out on the Huron King.
Awesome.
If we didn't mention that already, the new boat is called Huron King. So.
Yeah, it was tough to pick up the name, but I think it's appropriate.
Yeah, well, it's a kingfisher. We go after
Yeah,
kings, and
yeah.
actually Ryan, the name means little king. So,
Oh, is that right?
and yeah, so
Oh, wow. That's cool. A little provenance there.
Well, we're trying to get the bigger ones, actually.
yeah.
Yeah. No, that sounds great, guys. Thanks for coming. Thanks for talking fishing. And thanks to everybody else for joining us on Just Fishing. See you next time.